Well, it's day 12 of being inside, and I thought we'd do a lovely flow. So we're going to start in a child's pose. So your big toes are going to meet up, knees are a little bit wider apart, just extending back. So buttocks settling back onto the heels, a lovely spread of those fingertips into the mat. And trying to sort of find some length there. You can soften down through the neck. You want to just take maybe 3 breaths. Feel the back of your body expanding as you inhale, and then as you exhale, feel that let go. So the back ribs, especially side ribs, are really expanding, finding space for that breath, exhaling and soften. Make sure your neck stays soft. We've got one last one. So inhale, opening up. Exhaling and releasing. From here, we're going to inhale, curl forward. We're going to come through into just a very little mini plank. So we're kneeling, and you can stay with the kneeling versions, otherwise we will go to full planks. Exhale, elbows stay close to your sides as you lower down. We're going right down onto our floor, toenails pushing down, buttocks pushing down, and a little baby cobra pose, opening up through the front of that chest. If you feel like taking the arms away, you can take the arms away. Exhaling, settling to the floor. We're going to push back into your hands. Tuck the toes. We're going to tuck those toes under and lift. Now, just staying with those knees slightly bent for a moment. If you want to heel toes, stretching those legs that little bit more, the feet, the toes, the heels, the Achilles, lengthening the back of those legs long. So keep the neck very soft and relaxed, and from here again, draw up that tummy button, trying not to bring the weight over the hands too much, but sort of push the floor away with your hands. And then as you come forward, we'll ripple forward, drop back to knees if you prefer. Otherwise, we're in full plank. Tummy's very, very strong, thighs very, very firm, and slowly, very slowly, as slowly as you can, probably there already, aren't you, and down onto that mat, toenails push down, buttocks push down, and just that little lift. If you feel like going further, you can come up onto those knees and take a little mini chest opening, shoulders peeling back, a little mini up dog on your knees, or tuck over with those toes and press back through to your downward dog. Draw up that tummy, softening the neck. We're going to bring our right leg. I'm going to do my left leg because it's closer and you can see it, but take the right leg in the air, supporting leg very strong. Reach down into the fingertips, and really pushing that floor away. We're going to bend the knee in, rounding up that back, scoop up that tummy, draw the knee closer and step your foot forward, dropping the back knee to the floor. Inhaling all the way up to the center, exhale, and just taking that lovely twist. So arms stay wide, broaden across the chest, keep that hip square. From here, we're going to stand all the way up. Inhale, straightening up that front leg as well. Exhale, we're coming back down, just taking that a little bit further, shoulders staying quite broad and wide. One more time. Inhale, all the way back up, very long, very tall through that torso. Exhaling, taking that twist, and this time we're going to drop back with our right arm, left arm going high in the air. Exhale and take your hand next to the big toe, right arm up. If it's difficult to balance, drop that back knee to the floor. So we're not stopping particularly, we're flowing this class, so it's a flow. Take those hands down and stepping back. If you'd like to stay in your dog pose or child pose, some of you are going to ripple forward. Again, if you prefer, you're going to hold plank. Others, you're going down through the arms, kneeling version if you prefer. Inhale, peel through to full up dog with those knees away from that mat this time. Exhaling, back to down dog. Left leg is going up high. So extend it into the ceiling. Draw up those ribs so you're not arching the back, so you're pulling the rib cage in, bending that left leg all the way up, nice and close to the body. Step your foot forward. Dropping the back knee down, inhale all the way back up. And exhale, twist. Twists, they're really lovely. They're going to sort of massage out those shoulders and your little knots and kinks there. They're quite heating twists. Inhale all the way back up, reach up nice and tall. Buttocks stay firm, tummies are in. Exhale and twisting, so you're feeling that of your rotation, that spiral through your back. As you hold, settling into the centre, so you're not leaning back, you're sitting into the centre of those legs. Coming back up, inhale all the way back up, lovely and tall. Exhale, we're going back down. Big toe, that front foot pushing into your floor is going to help to balance you. A wall helps as well, and then we're dropping our left arm to our back leg, our right leg, reaching the right arm nice and high, feeling that lovely deep stretch through the front of the hip, front of that thigh, all the way through this little spot. Down that hand goes, and opposite arm extending to the ceiling. So find that rotation, drop the knee if you need to, and releasing back with those hands, stepping our way back to a downward dog. So you can wait and stay and find those few breaths. Some of you are going to ripple forward. Exhaling down into chaturanga. Keep those long, strong legs, tummies, ribs in. Peel your way through to your upward. And releasing back through to your down dog. Right leg is going back up. So extend it to the center, to the ceiling. This time you're going to exhale it, and it's coming up towards your right elbow. So as it comes through, draw that body forward, and we're going to step that foot round to the side. So easing, warming up through these hips. You can drop the back knee down, lowering our way down, or you can stretch that back leg straight. Drop the tummy, draw those little ribs in, gently shuffling forward, gently rocking back. One more time, little rock forward, little rock back. Now from here, you can step back, or you're going to press this knee against your arm and lift that foot off the floor. We're coming down, bring that foot back and peel through up dog. Exhaling through to your down dog. Left leg goes up. I'm just going to move off so I've got a little bit more space, otherwise I'm going to crash into that wall again. And then exhale, bring it back in. So knee right up close to that elbow, little bend to those arms. Place the foot and drop down, so you make it down on the knee or that whole long, very stretched out back leg. Draw up the tummy, broaden across the chest. Starting to really get that warmth through the muscles of the body, the hips, the hamstrings here. And from here you can press that leg against your thigh, so against your arm, so it's going to hold itself in place as you pick the foot up. Bend through those arms a little. Bring yourselves back into chaturanga. This time we're going down onto your tummy. Toenails press into the floor. Backside is going to push itself into the floor. Take a little lift, opening up the front of that chest. Arms are going to come away, and you're going to interlace your fingers and draw those hands towards your toes. So find that chest opening up, nice soft long neck. You don't have to lift the head up here. Keep the neck long. Releasing those arms. If you feel like going further, your legs can lift as well. If you feel it in the back, leave those legs on the floor. Release down, pressing back into those hands. And gently we're coming back into a child's pose or back through to your downward dog. So if you've had enough of those little vinyasana flow, that flow, staying, others you're coming forward. Exhaling into chaturanga. Inhaling through to that lovely full up dog, releasing back through to your downward dog. Now our right leg is going up into the ceiling one more time. Up it goes, pushing through those strong arms, soft neck. Now this time it's coming in, and it's going to go across towards your, just come around this way, towards your your left elbow. So in it comes, bring the knee nice and close, slide it under, and just let those hips settle down. So with this little one, we're easing through the IT band, quite strong little stretch there. Easing the hips downwards, keeping the back leg straight. You can stay here or turn the back foot out and open up this left side into a laying triangle pose. Pull up those thighs, open up the chest as much as possible, and then exhaling. We're coming back into a downward dog. And again, you can hold, you can stay dog pose, or you're going forward. Exhaling into chaturanga. Inhaling through to your up dog. Exhaling back through to your downward dog. So again, from here, extending your left leg up behind you, standing leg strong. Make sure those ribs aren't dropping downwards, they're in towards your back body. Bend the knee. It's coming across over to your right elbow this time. So again, from this angle, up it comes. Try not to let it down here. Pull it in and up, slide it under, and those hips downwards they go. So there's two versions to this pose. A lovely deep stretch through the outside of that thigh into the buttock, a T-bone stretching away there. And then the second, you can stay here or come out if you need to, but otherwise second version, we're opening that up into your laying triangle pose. So open up the chest, pull up those thighs, find that lovely space through the front of the body again, and releasing. Coming back out of that to child pose, or round this way into your downward dog. So again, you can stay, you can find your breath, you can soften around the neck. Others, forward we come. Exhaling into chaturanga. Inhaling through to your up dog. And exhaling back through to downward dog. So if we pick up our right leg, I will do my right leg as well, but our right leg is extending. Now this time, turn your right hip towards the ceiling. So lift it nice and high, standing leg very strong. Extending the back leg out to a diagonal, so it's not going behind you, it's sort of going across and behind. And it comes, rounding up that back again. Scoop it up. Place your foot between your hands, turning your back foot out and down. Reach around, and we're coming through to warrior two. So wide and open across the hips. Again, the weight is centered. The outer heels are pressing into the floor. From here, we're going to inhale, reach up very long, very tall, pulling up those thighs quite firmly and strongly. Exhale, and down you go, easing down. And again, inhaling, pulling back up through those legs, firm through the thighs, the buttocks, the ribs, the tummies. Exhale, down you go. We've got one last one, so inhale all the way back up. Bring yourselves up tall. This time we're going to drop our right arm onto our right leg, and left leg, and drift back. So opening up through the sides of that waist, under the shoulder, the ribs, the waist. Inhale all the way back up without letting this hip go out this way. We reach over to that side, so don't let this hip drop away. Keep the hips square, drawing up those thighs even more. Really try and reach the side body there and down onto that chin very lightly. So you're lengthening both sides of that waist. Top arm reaching for the ceiling. Nice and light with the bottom hand, so you're not dumping the weight. Make sure the shoulder hasn't curled forward. So you can stay and hold, or maybe just take an arm variation for those who'd like to. Hand onto your hip, bend this right leg, shuffle it in, and we're coming through and up to Ardha Chandrasana. So the leg doesn't have to go high, you're still wanting that nice strong long line, as if you're nice and flat to a wall. So bring the rib cage in. Sometimes it's quite nice to practice this with a walk, so you can know the whole of the body's flattening back into that line. We shall bend that leg, come back into the center, reaching back up, inhaling, exhaling, turn those feet out, and come down into your goddess pose. So those thighs are drawing back, the knees are pulling back. You're opening up through the inner thighs as you draw those thighs back, little toes on the floor. Arms extend into the ceiling, so if you can just sit there a little bit lower, a little bit deeper, and then inhale, up we come. We're going to turn back around towards that right leg, and down we go. Buttocks stay firm, tummies are in, and releasing back down onto your floor. We'll come back. You can either wait in your downward dog, or maybe child pose. Others coming forward. Exhaling into chaturanga. Inhaling into that full up dog, and releasing back to down dog. So our left leg up in the air it goes. So you're going to turn the hip, just move away there, turn that hip up towards the ceiling, pull up the standing leg, and then extending. So again, the leg's not going out behind you, it's going back to the wall behind you. So you're sort of opening that up a little bit more, and then swoop the leg in, rounding into that back, curl up that spine. place the foot forward, and we're coming back round. I'm going to turn this way around and back to warrior two. So broad across the chest, ribs in, weight centered, little toes pressing into the floor. Inhale, reaching very tall, lovely and long through the side body. Think of the rib cage lifting out of your hips. Exhale, and down into warrior two, Virabhadrasana two. We'll do two more. Inhale, back up, and exhale, bending back down. On this last one, reaching tall, we shall stay just drifting back towards the straight leg, firm up that backside, draw up the tummies, and we're coming through into triangle pose. So reaching long, keeping this left side very tucked firm, and down we go. So inching our way down, reach the fingertips away from us. You can look up if your neck's all right, look down if it doesn't feel comfortable to do that. You can stay and just extend that arm for the extra length there, or you can bring that foot underneath you and lifting back up. So pausing, holding, balancing. If you want to, you can play around with the balance and have that hand off the floor as well. So just see how that feels for you. Otherwise, stay with the hand down. You can stay with the standing bent if it's more comfortable for you. So from here, releasing back out, we're going to come down to that mat. Inhale, lifting back up. Feet, we're going to turn those feet out again. Bend down through those legs. Settle into those hips. Draw those thighs back. Push the palms together. Holding, maybe extending up through those arms. Reach up nice and tall. Soft shoulders, so you haven't got the shoulders hunched up with you. You don't want hunched shoulders. Inhale all the way back up. And exhale round to your left. Down we go, pushing up through that back heel. We're going back down to the floor. If you need to, you can take a little rest. Otherwise, we're in our downward dog. And then for those who like to, coming forward. Exhaling into chaturanga, peeling through to your up dog, and exhaling back to your downward dog. So just take a couple of breaths, stay with the tummy in, stay with those heels working downwards, stay with the fingertips pushing themselves into that mat. We're going to pick up our right leg, so I'll do the right leg as well. Lift up the right leg again, extending it away. Draw that tummy in. We're going to bend it in. This time we're going to hover it there for a moment. So the knees not down to the floor. It's pulling up and in towards your little tummy button. We'll step it forward. So through that little leg goes. Inhale. Up we come. So reaching up nice and tall. Broadening across the collarbones. Reaching up nice and long there. And from here, from this lovely little teeny back bend, there is a little back bend because you've got that lovely scooped curve here. You do have to lift the tummy, you do have to work those glutes to help hold you, lifting that breastbone nice and high. And from here we're going to turn back out to the side. We're staying in a lovely deep lunge into Virabhadrasana 2, and we're going to move through, inhaling up, peaceful warrior pose, exhaling through and down into your long lateral stretch, Parsvakonasana. So pushing through the back heel, reaching those fingertips out, pulling the front of that body in quite strongly, quite firmly. And then inhale, coming back up out of that, staying. We're going to interlace the fingers this time, opening up the front of those shoulders and exhaling a little, possibly a little further, arms overhead, soft long neck. Lift up the tummy just that bit more. And release those hands. We're going to come through to the center. Take a nice forward fold. Feel that big stretch all the way through the back body. Nice relaxed feel through the neck. And then bending those knees. We're going to curl up. So inhale tall. Reaching up lovely and long. Exhale, we're going around to the other side. Just bring those hands back to your floor. And step back, so maybe holding at this point. If you do feel like it, you're coming forward into your plank. Exhaling into your chaturanga. Flip those toes over as you move through to your upward dog. Exhaling back to your down dog. Left leg in the air it goes. So up high with that left leg. Tummy's ribs in. Standing leg should feel nicely stretched by this point. In comes your left leg, rounding up that back, scoop it up nicely, placing that foot between your hands. Up we come. So we're going to hold, lovely warmed up there. So lots of nice length through this thigh, through the front of the hip. Our foot's turned in, and that we get a lovely deep stretch through the front of the hip flexor there. Reaching up nice and tall and possibly just opening up the front of that body a weeny bit more. Don't have to go that far. You can just stay tall if it's more comfortable for you. Relaxing your shoulders. You can stay here. Or if you feel comfortable, lifting. As you release, we're coming out through to the opposite side. Arms are long. Pushing through the back foot. Ribs, tummies drawing back in. Soft, long necks. And then from here, we're going to reach back. So opening, peaceful warrior. And releasing back through and down with our arm resting to the thigh, possibly going that little bit deeper into Parsvakonasana, your long lateral stretch. So as if someone's holding onto your foot, pulling it away. Someone else has got a hold of those fingertips, extending them to the opposite corner, turning towards that ceiling. One more lovely deep breath, and then coming back up out of that. So inhale our way up. We're staying interlace of those hands. Open up the chest, lift, and exhaling. We're diving. Nose towards that instep. Arms overhead, soft long neck. Very, very strong through that back leg. Breathing as you stay. And then from here, now we'll stay low. Just bring those hands down. Turn yourselves out here, and we'll turn our feet so they're pointing to the corner edges. We're going to bend through, doesn't matter which way, but maybe the right leg. I'll do my left. I'll be your mirror. Down we go. So maybe just lifting the sole of the foot. If it's too much, we're holding here. But if you can, you're going down to Skandasana. We're coming back into the middle and over and down, down, down a little. Some of you going that little bit further, easing through the inner thighs. We shall come back up, over and down, opposite side, just that one more time, easing into the groin, into those hips, and another one, coming back up, easing over to the side. We're going to stay this side, and just turn back round to the top edge of your mat, whichever the top edge might be at this point, and step back, so you're back through into your downward dog. Possibly just taking a little rest if you'd rather rest. If you're going further, you're coming forward into your plank. Exhaling down into chaturanga. Moving through into that up dog. And releasing to our knees. Settling back through to your child pose a moment. And from that little child pose, we're going to ripple forward again. So curl up. And bring your bodies all the way down onto your floor. Now, we're going to take those arms and extend them out. Draw up the tummy as much as possible. Pull up those thighs. We're going to lift our right arm and our left leg. Up they go. Reach them long as you can. Push those toes to one end, fingertips to the other. Opposite sides, pushing into your mat, down onto the floor. So left arm, right leg, lift. And again, the sides that are on the floor, press them firmly into that floor. Pull up the tummy, and down they go. Opposite side again, lift. We're going to bend that leg, so you might need to stay, or you're going to reach for that ankle, kick the foot into the hand. That might be where you hold, or maybe extending up with the opposite arm. So reach out long, toes of that back foot pushing back into your mat, and release back out. Opposite side, so extending, opposite arm to leg, they lift. Bending that back leg, you can stay or possibly reach for that ankle, kick it away, lift the thigh that little bit further, and then if you want to, open that up that bit more. Length through the thigh, open up the chest for that strength through the back body as you release back to your floor. But coming through to your hands and your knees. Just take a little scoop up, your cat stretch, rounding into the back, squeeze the breath away, and inhale, arching back out the other way around, open that up. Coming back through to a more neutral position, you're going to pick up your right arm And your left leg again. So extend that left leg all the way nice and high. Draw up the tummy so you're not sagging into the chest. Pull up those wee tummies. Reaching that arm around. Stay here if it's difficult. Or you've got a hold of that foot. You're kicking it back into the hand. Arching. Think of really pushing down into that hand that's on the mat. So you can get that lovely big opening. We shall release. We're going to do the other side. So lifting up through that opposite leg. Tummy's in. Reaching the arm out. That might be where you'd like to be, where you'd like to stay. Or if you're going further, we're reaching for that ankle. Keep pressing back into the hand that's on the floor. Opening up the front of that chest again. Kick the foot into that hand. And gently release back out. We're going to roll over and release down onto your back. So another little back bend before we slow down. Just taking those feet reasonably close. Don't let the feet turn out. They're slightly pigeon-toed, if anything. And you're going to press those feet, especially the big toe inner heels, to the floor and take a little lift. Now, nice diagonal shape. That might be where you feel like staying. If you want to take more of a back bend, you're going to Setu Bandha. You're going to press down into those feet a bit more and lift so you feel the back of the legs, the buttocks. You can interlace your fingers here to wriggle further up onto the shoulders. So you're sort of thinking of the chest going towards your chin. The more you push down into your feet, you'll get more lift off, more height. It'll feel a little lighter. And so we shall exhale and curl and round that back down to your floor. We're going to do 2 more. So, or you can rest if you really want to. Otherwise, we're going to press down into the big toes and the heels. Some of you might even want to grab your ankles or maybe bring the fingertips under your heels as you lift back up. So buttocks peel off, stay with the diagonal. Some of you are going to wriggle up a little higher into one shoulder, a little bit higher into the other, and work those heels down. Bring that chest towards your chin. Find the space through the front of the body, your ribs, your tummy, the front of those hips, the length through those thighs, the strength through the back of these legs, and your backside there supporting you as you stay. And then I'll stop talking. We shall roll ourselves back to your floor if you want to rest. Or one last one. So up we come, lifting back up. So you can stay at any level, little way or a long way. If you want to go further, and if you feel sort of lovely and warmed up through those arms and shoulders, your hands are sitting under your shoulders. Try not to let the elbows go wide, they stay tucked in. And if you feel like it, you can lift all the way up into a lovely big arch of a back bend. It's called Urdhva Dhanurasana. Quite hard to talk in while you're there, so keep the neck soft. Try and push into the feet to bring your chest back to the other side of your mat. Another breath. Push into that floor. And then exhaling, down we come. Down we go, and we're going to hug the legs to your chest. Take a lovely little rock side to side. Nice relaxed feel through your backs, your neck and shoulders. And then from here, we're rolling off to the side. Usually we roll off to that right side. We're going to come all the way back round. Sitting back up there, we're going to extend out through both legs. Take a big breath and a counter pose to those back bends. So just curling down, length through the back. Draw up those wee tummies, soft through the neck and shoulders. You can always bend the knees here if it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for you, so do stay with bent legs. Some of you might be able to grab around behind your feet and hold on. From here, we're going to inhale ourselves up out of that. We shall take our right leg. It's going to sit just one knee on top of the other. Some of you might take 2 legs if you want to. You've got 2 knees, one on top of the other. Inhale up. You can call it knee power pose. You can call it dangerous cross legs. Now, if you've got the right leg on top, you bring your left arm, wrap it round. Bring those palms to push into each other. Bring your elbows forward. So do remember to stay here, or maybe even here if those hips really aren't comfortable with this. Otherwise, it's tucked in, one knee piled on top of the other, or full dangerous cross legs. Now from here, if you feel comfortable with that, you're going forward a little, or maybe a little bit further, or maybe a lot. So just curling, softening. Exhale into the pose, into your asana. Breathe out to take yourselves deeper. So you're not trying to take yourselves deeper by pulling and pushing, forcing. You're taking yourselves further into a pose by exhaling and sort of melting into the posture. We're going to inhale all the way up and release. We're going other side. So just swapping over. I know it's quite a quick class and we've been moving quite fast to sort of pack it all in. But I think we managed, one knee on top of the other. I'm warmed up here. Some of you taking both legs. We're going to take the arms. So if you've got your left leg on top, you bring your right arm over the top and you're trying to push the palms together. Elbows moving away, shoulders are trying to drop downwards, so your neck is getting a bit of a release. It's a really lovely stretch if you're at a desk or a computer. If it's difficult to get into, you can always hold a strap between your hands, or you can hold the shoulders. So as you exhale, we come forward, so rounding, folding, settling, and just breathing, relaxing, resting. And gently we shall come up out of that. Now we are going to lie down on the floor, so just take yourselves into a nice comfortable pose there. If it's difficult to have those feet or the knees falling out to the sides, leave the knees together and the feet out to the sides. And if your lower back gets a bit niggly, that's always a nice one to do. Shoulders relaxed, chin tucked in. Another option is to have the legs stretched out straight. So again, we're not staying a long time, but then again, if you feel you'd like to just rest here for about 10 more minutes, turn me off and you can do just that. Otherwise, adding this maybe to another one of your classes that are online for you. Some of you asked for a vinyasa flow, so just a lovely short little flow class to get the energy going, to get that feeling of refreshing, releasing, and then relaxing to the body. And as you relax into that pose, you can start to sort of feel the energy just sort of zinging away, zinging in.